every day to make the type of difference that I know this office works on each and every day. I want to end by specifically mentioning what today's ruling means to our public universities one by one. To Eastern Kentucky University, it means $1,360,700. To Morehead State University, it means $866,800. To Murray State University, $960,500. To Northern Kentucky University, $970,800. To the University of Kentucky, $5,592,200. To the University of Louisville, $2,781,500. To WKU, $1,493,000. And to the KCTCS system, and we have a breakdown if you'd like it, it means $3,803,200. It is my hope that the universities, when receiving this money, will use it to offset the damage both to the students and their families and the faculties and their families that these extreme budget cuts have caused to our public universities. Thank you, and I will take any questions.
General, what exactly is the status of the about $18 million at this point?
Per Judge Wingate's ruling, the $18 million is sitting in a special account, ready to be provided to each and every one of our public universities. Now, the Supreme Court ruling orders that the case go back down to Franklin Circuit Court, where the court will have to honor that ruling. But this governor is all about cutting the red tape, and this case is over. So I'm calling on him to cut that red tape and go ahead and immediately provide these funds to our universities. They desperately need them. They can use them, and in the end, it'll help Kentucky families, whether it's the students or the faculty.
Well, is there any doubt at all that that's where this money is going to go, given that today's ruling is final?
Well, today's ruling is final. I guess the governor's office could move the Supreme Court to reconsider, but they've already seen all the arguments. I don't know what other procedural steps they could take, but this is it. I mean, the Supreme Court has spoken, and when the Supreme Court speaks on the law, it's final. So this matter is over. The universities are entitled to those funds, so let's cut that red tape and let's provide it to them.
What has to do with it? If it's over, why does it have to go back?
It's how it works on a procedural basis, because the Franklin Circuit Court has that injunction on how and where the funds are being kept right now, that they will then enter a final order consistent with the Kentucky Supreme Court.
So Wingate still has to issue an order ordering the governor to
If the governor doesn't go ahead and do so.
And the governor does have so many days to petition for a rehearing.
I think it's 20 days.
20 days. If he does that, would y'all respond quickly?
We will respond as quickly as possible. Again, though, the Kentucky Supreme Court has spoken. And every day, for instance, the University of Kentucky has not provided its $5,592,200 is another day our students and our faculty suffer. Now that we have clear legal precedent telling us that everyone's bound by the law, let's follow it.
Should he be successful in petition for a rehearing, you would move quickly. Would you have any concern that the makeup of the court could change before all this can be resolved?
Within 20 days? No.
Have you had any contact?
Oh, we'll file quickly. No, I anticipate that there will not be changes in the court before any final steps that can be taken.
Have you had any contact with the university or the governor's office?
Not yet.
What do you think about the dissenting opinion that dealt with issues of standing rather than the facts before the
There was only one justice on the dissent as it goes to standing. The other dissenting justice did not join that part. I believe that the portions of standing in this opinion are strong, are very strong, and they show that it's not just my job, it's my duty as Attorney General to enforce that Constitution, especially when another state actor like the governor disobeys or tramples on it. It's what I believe since the day I put my hand on my family Bible and pledged to defend that Constitution. And the Kentucky Supreme Court told me today that I'm doing my job.
Is this ruling the feather of the cap
I don't think that my job on a day-to-day basis is political at all. I think that today is a win for the Constitution. I think today is a win for Kentucky law. I think today is a win for students and their families, as well as the faculty. In the end, this ruling is all about everyone, including the governor, being bound by the law. So I think we all win as a Commonwealth today.
General, do you
Yes.
feel in this particular case it was more your job to uphold the Constitution of the state, or
Yes.
or do what's right for the university, or it's all
Well, in this case, both were the same. In the end, if there is a constitutional violation, it's my job to enforce that Constitution, whether in the end it's helpful or harmful to an entity. In the end, I have a duty to that guiding principle of law. But in this instance, the two are aligned.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they actually sidestep the constitutional question and just rule on the statutes?
They did. They ruled that the statutes that the governor claims does not give him authority to cut the appropriation that was made by the General Assembly, and that a specific statute, it's 164A 555, means that universities always get the full amount that they are appropriated.
Do you think it's still a separation of powers in the future?
Well, I believe that if the court had to address the separation of powers, it would have found in our favor based on more than 12 years of legal precedent, going back to Fletcher v. Commonwealth and Cowan and all of the other cases like LRC Brown that address it. So if in the future we need to make that argument again, I believe that it will be successful.
If Governor Bevin was to release those funds today, how soon would the state university see that?
Well, they're sitting in an account. Governor Bevin could release them to the universities today. And before the end of the day, if the governor chooses, again, to cut the red tape and comply with the Kentucky Supreme Court, our universities could be $18 million better off than they were this morning.
Realistically, do you expect that to happen?
I don't know. I hope that it does, because again, I hope today can change the tone and be a turning point. Obviously, these are not frivolous cases. They're cases that I have filed based on my duty as Attorney General. And so I hope it gives the opportunity to pause and take a breath and rethink maybe the approach that's been taken to date in the governor's office. You know, when the Kentucky Supreme Court speaks, I think we've got a duty to follow the law. So my hope is that, yes, he does.
Kentucky State is on that list, but they didn't release everybody. Why should they?
That's good.
Why should the president
Oh, because it means in the future they are entitled to all the dollars that are appropriated in a future budget. If we had not won this case, then the governor could have cut appropriated funds going forward in the future, even in times of surplus. So this is a win for all of our universities going forward as to what the budget means to them and how they can manage their own funds. Remember, they had an expectation that they would have their full appropriated amounts for the last biennium, because we were in the first surplus we'd seen in over a decade, I believe. And so now this will help them manage their funds throughout the year, knowing that they'll come in.
Justice Milton wrote that universities are independent bodies policy. Do you see any indication there that bodes well for your other student-involving universities?
I believe that it does. And I believe that while Judge Shepard has our final briefs on the University of Louisville Board of Trustees suit, that I'm sure he will take a look at this opinion. We may provide it in a condensed form to him and consider some of those rulings before he comes to his final decision.
General, what are you talking about when you say now it's time for the governor to pause and maybe a turning point, reconsider what exactly? His style, his belief that aggressive exercise of executive power is needed at this time? What exactly are you getting?
I'd like the governor to pause, change certainly tone, and to look for ways that we can all work together to end the name calling and the nasty press releases, to focus on the issues that Kentuckians care about. Certainly we have worked well together with First Lady Glenna Bevin on rolling out our child abuse prevention programs, which are the most comprehensive, cohesive statewide group of prevention trainings that we've ever had in the Commonwealth. but to join together on not only that issue, but this scams issue that face our seniors. Together, what we can do would be so much more powerful than what this office is able to do every day, though we work really hard on it. You know, in the last week, we've been in Corbin talking to a group of seniors about how they cannot fall for scams. We were in Paducah 2 days ago. We move around a lot. We were in Paducah 2 days ago doing one of these child abuse prevention trainings, going to a law enforcement appreciation event. I'd like to see that this governor's office grab a hold of, if not our particular vision, a vision that can help every Kentucky family, one that is positive, where we don't just grab onto issues that we disagree about, but issues that we all agree on, and to work forward in addressing them.
Are you going to reach out to him if you don't hear from Governor Levitt?
We will. I imagine that we will hear from him at some point today. My hope is that that response is positive. I would certainly reach out with appreciation if he decides to go ahead and provide these funds. It'd be the right thing to do, and it would be a good decision at this point. Well, we may well do that. We're going to wait to see what their next step is, and then we'll make our decisions from there.
You said earlier that you hope that the universities would use this money to offset some of the funding.
Yes.
I know that all the universities have reduced tuition.
Right.
I don't think they can roll that back anymore. What do you have in mind? What do you think the universities should do with this money?
Well, I'd like them to be creative, to look at different fees and costs that students face. They could always consider rebates on future tuition. I want to see this money, which the Attorney General's office went to court and fought over. I know the universities weren't there, and I understand they were under extreme pressure. But my hope is, now that this money, or when this money returns, that they will use it in ways that I think will benefit Kentucky families the most. And that's certainly at least reducing the harm that these extensive budget cuts have caused to students, their families, and faculty.
Did you at any time reach out to university presidents to see if they were willing to join the suit? And if so, what reasons did they give you that they didn't?
Well, we haven't had any public conversations with them on that, and I think any conversations we've had with folks that we told them we would treat them confidentially.
I want to be sure, if the governor goes to petition for a rehearing route, 20 days, are those 20 calendar days, 20 work days?
That's-
It's 20 calendar.
20 from today.
Including Sunday.
Yes. But Jack, in the end, we have a 5-2 decision, and I don't believe that 5-2 decision is going to change.
Yes, sir.
And if we're for efficiency and cutting the red tape, you know, it's time to get it done. And I think it is extremely rare to have a successful motion for reconsideration.
Anybody else? General, were you
Yes.
expecting such convincing ruling?
I'm appreciative of the ruling. You never know, as a lawyer, exactly how a ruling's going to come out and what it'll say. But today's ruling said two things. Number one, I'm doing my job. It's my job to stand up to violations of the law or the Constitution and to vindicate the public rights of our citizens. And that number two, no one is above the law. Everyone has to follow the law. And I expect, certainly on this issue, that going forward, that the governor and all of our other public officials will comply with the law.